What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans. In this video, I'm very excited to bring a savant of the HEX and Pulse chain community. You probably heard this guy dropping amazing sets and amazing beats on Twitch. You know who I'm talking about, the one, the only, Mr. DJ CryptoMatic.
Hey.
What is going on, man? Thank you. Welcome to the stream.
I'm on Miyamoto's show, man. That's big. Look at you. You came on the scene like middle last year, right?
Late last year. Yeah. Probably November I started streaming.
For the London event, and then you were sitting in with Cabana a few times, right? And then now you're in charge of the big Liquid Loans YouTube channel. So
things
that's
move
amazing.
fast in crypto. Things move fast, man. Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming on. I really enjoy your streams, your energy. You're all over the place, and you know, I think I think a lot of hexagons, any hexagon worth their weight in salt wants to party the night away to a DJ CryptoMatic set. I had the pleasure in London at 731. I knew it was going to be a good night because I walked in and George Michael Spinning the Wheel was playing, and I was like, dude, I haven't heard this song for years. And looked over, CryptoMatic's there on the decks, and yeah, it was an amazing night, man. What did you think of that party? Did you have a great time?
Oh, that was cool. Like I didn't know what to expect, and then I was there from like 5 in the afternoon, really setting up, doing the sound checks, and of course the amazing thing then was that Richard was also still there, doing his own sound check for the stage. So I had then the chance. I walked over the room and then introduced myself, and he then knew who I was, and then we had a quick, like a very brief private moment, so with him and Brent as well. So that was very cool. So that the night was already perfect for me from that moment on to meet the big man. But then it was then time to work, because I was there providing the music. Like I played the first 1.5 hours before their main show on stage began, and then after the speeches and all that, then I handed over to another DJ. Was a female DJ from London, I think DJ Yasmin, I think is the name. She was awesome, and she then did all the bits where people were dancing around. And then during that time I had to already pack up my stuff and move over to the second location, which was then of course at the famous Fabric nightclub then. So that was an amazing night. And I've been to Vegas as well. I'm always trying to compare the London event with the Vegas event from March, and I think the difference for me was that because around the London thing was like really 3 days where I was there, and during all this time I was able to meet up with a lot of the OG streamers, from the Hodl Dog and RG3 and Funding Jim and Motley and all these guys that you see, Kinetics as well, and Markable Thoughts that I've been streaming with as well on Discourse Syndicate situation, and that finally, for a year without really never having met in real life and in person, and so I kind of, that was more the focus for me in the London situation, to meet up with all those known guys. And then whereas in Vegas now, it was more of an occasion to meet with all the newer people and the new hexagons in the community. So that, in that sense, you can't really compare the two. It was two really different events, but I enjoyed both of them, of course. And I played a bit of a lounge set in the beginning, and I thought, why not hit that George Michael?
I love that song, man. George Michael's got some bangers. Amazing, man. Your sets are great. You play a whole different mix of genres, hip hop, you've got some R&B in there, like you said, even some country and stuff sometimes, and it's really,
I'm trying to mix it up. I mean, my shows on Twitch, I've got this channel now as a mixed show. I'm getting on 3 times a week, and the channel now has like 1,000 followers almost on Twitch.
Awesome. What's the name of the channel?
Sorry,
what's the name? Just to let everyone know, drop it here. So
it's twitch.tv and then /DJ_CryptoMatic. That's how you can
follow
find
that,
it,
guys.
And it's usually Sundays, Tuesday nights, and on the Fridays. And I used to be like a professional DJ for 9 years in Germany, like really from in the 90s. It was like 94 until the early 2000s, and I played commercial clubs all over. And so of course it's house music, it's techno, it's then your commercial R&B and hip hop, that you would play at the club on a Saturday. And that's why I'm kind of versatile. It's not just because most DJs or most famous DJs are just focused on one style, and that's all they ever play. But being in this commercial club outlet, you kind of had to be versatile in different genres. So, and that's what I'm trying to bring to my Twitch channel, to really be able to use that music to shill mostly hex, really. And now of course we're moving on to PulseChain, PulseX, to people that are on Twitch for the music. We bring them to the channel with the music and with a good mix, and but we have it all branded out and the logos everywhere. And that's really the aim of my mission there, to get people interested in the Richard Hart ecosystem through the music. So that's the whole reason why I'm doing that. So I'm not trying to target Hexicans to get to that stream, even though it has become now a bit of a community hangout, which is great, because that also helps, because to be seen on Twitch, you must have, it's a bit of a different game than YouTube. You must have a constant base viewership of a couple of people that gets you going on a stream, and that way you are then noticed by other random people on the main browsing pages. And like, if you're all alone, then it's very difficult to achieve something. But if you have a base viewership of 10, 15, 20 people all the time, and the Hexicans come through, so I'm very, at this point, very grateful for all the support. And then we're being noticed and seen, and then we get new people, random people in that we then can try to onboard. Even on the stream, it's happening that we're onboarding people into Hex.
That's great. You can always count Hexicans to come through and support. But you're the epitome of someone using their best skills, right? Instead of just becoming a YouTube streamer or a YouTuber, using what you're really good at. And I'm going back to you being a DJ. I've DJ'd quite a little bit when I was younger. I think it's so much easier just to pick one genre, but when to cross from like hip hop into drum and bass, into pop, into Britney Spears and stuff, I think that's a complete talent, man, because you've got all these different BPMs and you've got to make it sound seamless. And I mean, I could do it a little bit because I like 90s hip hop as well, and I think you do too, and Biggie and whatever, and I try and mix it with newer stuff, and sometimes it would come out okay, sometimes it was a car crash, right? So when I hear someone like you do it so eloquently, it's really, really impressive, man. So good,
thank you
good
very
job
much
on the Twitch. It's great.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's my passion, and there was really because my day job is something completely else. I'm in a executive position, management position in a mid-sized company, so I'm not doing DJing as my full time. That was always 20 years ago, when I was doing this as a side job, always on the weekends and Friday nights, Saturday nights. But then my responsibilities in my main day job became more and more of a thing that once you get to like a department head level and you have HR responsibilities, you need to deal with people, and you got to be on point. Like, you cannot be DJing until 4 a.m. in a smoked out club, and then deal with customers and stuff the next morning. So I had to kind of shelve that career, even though it was a good run. And then it was really around the time of Big Payday in 2020, when Johnny Chaos, he put out this call to the community, because then with all the streaming right now, we have so many new streamers, it's very hard to even keep track for me. But back then it wasn't like that. It was a handful of people, and he put out this call that we need more streamers, we need more live streamers about Hex, we need to get the word out, our outbound marketing and messaging. And then he said, whatever you're good at, I remember this like it's yesterday, it's like, whatever you're good at, make a stream about it and try to incorporate Hex on the side, or find a way to do that. And that got me thinking. I said, okay, I've got all this DJ gear here and the music from back in the day, let me try that. And I actually asked Richard in the DM if he was okay for something like this to be done, and he sort of yeah, that's cool, because I know he also enjoys like DJ sets, and he's a big drum and bass fan. You've seen him at Fabric, right?
Getting down.
on the dance floor. So he gave me the official approval. It's like, yeah, go for it, and that was sort of my call. And then I just tried it, and after 3-4 months of being lonely on Twitch, I then managed to get some regular viewers, and yeah, ever since then it's been growing, and it's I'm quite proud of what we achieved there. I know 1,000 followers is not much on in the YouTube sphere, but for a music show on Twitch, that is something. So yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it's great. And obviously you can see you love it, and you have to love DJing because it's not cheap, all the gear and having it all around.
No.
So you can see, man, you're made for it. And the sooner you go full time Twitch DJing, the better, So
yeah, I can retire one day from all these mad gains that we're about to do, and then just do that. That would be a blessing. Yeah.
Talking about mad gains, how did you get into crypto? What's your backstory with crypto?
In crypto, I like from investment thing. I really got into in 2017. I mean, I've heard about Bitcoin in 2012, fairly early, when it was still, I think it had just made that move from $10, where it was leveling for ages, to $60, and everybody was crazy that they sold thousands of Bitcoin at $10, and now that's 6x. But look at it today, right? When it's managed to get to 60,000. So I had a friend who was mining Bitcoin back then, and he even showed it to me on his laptop, like, okay, this is the set of, yet then back then it was still graphic cards, but there were these weird little USB chips that had the GPU units on, so you could set up a thing of 20 of these sticks with GPUs. That's how people mined that in the early days. And he was showing me how that's working, and here's a link to Mount Gox, the Mount Gox exchange. This is how you can trade and sell it. So that was back in those days, and I looked at it, but I wasn't sold. I was like, no, this is not real. This is scam. I didn't I wasn't sold on it. Like, so what a mistake, right? So you really had this in front of you. You could have
joined the club
back then, but yeah. So you had similar experiences. And then I watched it still a bit on the side over the years, and then I think in 2016 it had another crazy run up to $1,000 or $1,200 Bitcoin at the high, and that's when I kind of rediscovered it. And back then I started dabbling in trading a little bit, but just like forex trading, trying different currency pairs, trying to trade against it, trying to read charts, trying to get into technical analysis, because I was curious in that. Was interested about that. I was interested in that. Sorry, I'm from Germany. I'm still mixing up the words sometimes.
Don't apologize, man. Sorry, just interrupt you. When I hear you Germans talk in English, you put us native English speakers to shame. Your English is normally better than the English and the Americans put together. But no, carry on. So you were doing the TA and stuff, right?
Yeah, the TA, and then and so I then on these trading platforms for the forex, because the markets were only open Monday to Friday, like the stock exchanges are, and then it was the weekend. I said, hey, I want to do some trades, but you couldn't because it was closed. And they had one trading pair, Bitcoin versus the dollar, that was always running 24/7. And that's kind of, oh, this is Bitcoin. I saw that in 2012, and that is then kind of how I rediscovered it, basically, and then really tried to research more about it. And then in 2017, just in time before that crazy first really big first crypto bull run, I invested. I had savings at the time, and then dabbled and gained a lot, lost a lot, and that was thankfully also around the time where I found Richard Hart, when it was still all about Bitcoin on YouTube. So I'm really following his live streams ever since 2017, and through that, of course, I knew about HEX from really day one, from its development, and then from the launch. And I was active on Telegram during the launch phase, trying to help people set up their MetaMask, trying to argue with FUD people, and all that fun stuff that that we had to kind of deal with there in the early days. So I really witnessed this whole thing start and witnessed how the community has grown so much to what it is now. So yeah, it's been a fantastic journey. So that is kind of my thing into crypto. But the one thing I will say about all this is the financial literacy, right? That, like, when I in the times before that, 2015, 2016, when I turned on the TV to like CNBC or Bloomberg, with all these numbers going on, I wouldn't understand a single thing what this actually is. And now today I'm turning it on and I understand 100% of what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's like this financial literacy. I think this is what everybody needs to kind of grab and understand if they want to make it in the crypto space. Like, this is what all this actually means. And thanks to all this, and self-taught technical analysis and all that stuff, I was able to accomplish that, which is another positive byproduct. I don't know if you can relate to that. Is it like with your, actually don't know how you got into it, if I can turn the interview around.
Sure. Well, listen, first off, that's a great story, because I knew you're an OG, but to hear your story getting into it, and touching on what you said, absolutely, by going down the crypto rabbit hole, right, and learning how to read charts, and learning about support signs and bull markets and bear markets, when you watch CNBC or something, you're like, oh, I actually understand this now, because before it was like they were speaking Arabic or Dutch,
Spanish,
right?
Yes.
And you're like, I don't know what they're talking about. But now when you hear all this stuff, you're like, ding. So you're right, going down the rabbit hole. And of course, we go down the rabbit hole because we want to make more money and we want to become financially independent. But all these byproducts of becoming more financially literate are a big success story. My story, briefly, because I don't want to make this all about me, it's more about you. But first time I heard about Bitcoin, I think around the same time, 2012, right? So I think, around, I looked at the price, it maybe was around 50, 60 bucks. So maybe around the same time, I had a friend who I was training with at the time. We're working out, and he was like, hey man, there's this, he came down. I met him one day at the gym, and he came down with this big smile on his face. And I was like, well, why are you so happy? And he was like, this Bitcoin thing I've got into, it's just gone up and stuff. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, oh, it's this kind of like money on the internet. And I was just like, nah, I don't want to. That sounds like a scam. And
right,
it's hard when people tell you about something new, because you're so locked into your vision of something. At the time, I was interested in precious metals. I was living in Thailand at the time, in Southeast Asia, and I would buy physical gold. My savings, I'd go and buy gold and hold it in a safe. And that was like my first. Well, no, I was actually doing a bit of stock trading before that, but it was an easy way to not spend money, right? To keep it in cash in the bank. And I just and people were saying, hey, it's all about precious metals. And I heard about in 2012, tried to ignore it. And through the years, heard about these people becoming millionaires and thought, this is annoying. I heard about this ages ago. And it wasn't. And then 2017, obviously the bull run, right? Who could not hear about Bitcoin then? And I set up a Coinbase account, was going to buy some. And luckily I didn't, because it was right at the top, because it was like everyone was talking about it. It was all over Facebook. I think it was literally the end of 2017, because it crashed in January 18, I think.
January,
yeah. So I didn't, but I set up my Coinbase account and everything, and I didn't go through with it. And it wasn't until probably a year and a bit ago that I actually bought my first Bitcoin. So it was a long time from when I first heard about it, right? It's a good 8 years, maybe 2020 or end of 2020. So yeah, from actually hearing about it to getting in, it's like, it's better to go on the
hurdle, right? You have like a barrier of, but it takes a bit of courage, I think.
Of course, yeah. I bought my first Bitcoin. I couldn't get it off the exchange. I bought it on eToro, believe it or not. And you couldn't send it off the exchange. And I was
they still don't, right?
I don't know, man. It was
that's just for trading on there. It's not the real thing. Yeah.
So that was how I got into it. And then, long story short, got into leverage trading, got wrecked, altcoins, and somehow found out about HEX last year, around May last year. And that's it from there. And then obviously sacrifice for PulseChain and everything. So thank God, luckily got in. you know, hopefully at the golden time, because obviously PulseChain, when Pulse people CryptoMatic.
We're still early. No, I think according to Richard last stream that he did with the guys at the Miami crypto conference, I mean, there he was very specific that it's almost there, and I think he even said something like 4 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks. I know is the running joke. We had that in HEX, but it was the same thing. Like when HEX came out, I think that also was announced a full year prior. We're starting soon, and then it really took another year. So we're now between Sacrifice, which was June last year, and now we're coming up to April, May. So that's again a full year almost passed, because the scope of the project had increased so much, I think, during the whole phase now. So yeah, I'm hopeful that, you know, really May, June, that's what I'm looking at. But you know, you can never be safe, because I think Richard, he takes so much pride in his products. He will only ship it when it's 100% sound. And I caught that from, you know, the Crypto Sparbook guy. They had a good interview with Dev Kyle, you know, in the early months, or no, it wasn't the early months. Of course, it was, I think, just before Big Payday. You know how that whole development phase of HEX went, and what it's like to work with Richard. And there he also said, Richard is all about simulating worst case, you know, to make sure that nobody can really rig or game the system. So it's all about security there. And because with HEX, you know, people lock up their economic energy for 15 years. It has to be safe. It has to be safe, like a bank vault. You can't have any unknowns there, any, you know, any attack vectors. And I think he will probably apply the same scrutiny to the development of PulseChain and the PulseX exchange. And that's why that takes so long. But I'm not worried or nothing. Like, it's more, you know, I'm actually, that's a sign to me personally. It's a sign that he applies the same scrutiny and just wants to make sure that it's right, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're definitely getting close, you know, because he said, was it a few nights ago? He said no more sacrifices, right?
Yeah, that was right in the middle of my stream, actually, on Tuesday.
Wow.
Because on Tuesday we always have the big, there's two other DJs on Twitch, as was DJ Alpha Music and a French guy, DJ Patrice. He's from Paris, where we like DJ back to back. That's always on a Tuesday night every week. It's a theme of like 80s funk music, funk and soul.
Sweet.
And so we always rate each other back, that we carry the viewership from one DJ to the next and to the next. So that increases the whole viewer amount, and thus again it has more of a chance to be seen by other people on
non-hexagons,
Twitch network, exactly, which is again all what it's about for us there. And yeah, right in the middle of my stream, somebody came in and said, "Hey, Richard just tweeted," you know, put it in the chat, "No more sacrifice," and everybody was going crazy, like they thought it's gonna launch tomorrow. But I think it only has to do with the sacrifice balances that they're trying to get right. I'm curious why that is such a big thing, because all of today and yesterday he was tweeting about those balances. Do you think that is because of the bonus is so hard to calculate, or is it because all of these people who sacked different types of coins that they weren't supposed to, or from exchanges or whatnot?
I think from what he said on that, was it CryptoCon, whatever, in Miami, from that stream, he did say that a lot of people were sacking illiquid coins, right? So it's making the sacrifice balance process, you know, tallying up the points a lot harder than it should be. Because if everyone just sacked HEX, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, it would be a piece of cake, right? You know,
piece of cake, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are sending stuff they shouldn't have, and basically they're trying to get cute, right? They're trying to get more points than they should. So I think from what he said, he's trying to look favorably on them, like give them something.
Yeah.
But he can't give them obviously what they're probably asking for. Like, oh, this is $1 million worth of, I know, some Inu or something like that, right? So I think that's making the process a bit harder. And I guess him saying, right, no more, is because we need to get the sacrifice balances locked in once and for all, right?
Yeah.
Properly done. Because there's been a lot of, have you been on the app, the sacrifice app checker, where you can check the different
Yes.
balances? Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. In my case, it's a bit
Yeah.
more than I originally had expected. So
yeah,
but that's working. Yeah. But again, all this that he does to try to include these people, because I've been in the ICO phase of 2017. I know sacrifice is not the same thing. We're not supposed to have any expectations there, but in when the ICOs ran, if you sacked or transmitted the wrong coin or did something wrong there, then they were just laughing. You wouldn't get anything. That's just lost. That's your bad luck. This life. But not Richard. Like, he's really trying to even accommodate those people, which is again super bullish to me. And this shows how serious he takes the whole thing and really wants to get as many people on board in that new ecosystem as possible. So I think that is it's a very positive signal.
Oh yeah, I think there's so many sides to it. Number one, he's actually helping people because he's obviously within his right to say you sacrificed after a certain date, or you sacrificed the wrong coin, to be like, no, these were the rules explicitly laid out. And also, he's playing the long-term game, I think, because no one can speak bad of him, because even though I sacked the wrong coin on a liquid coin, he's still giving me points towards it.
True.
So no one can be crying, foul play or anything like that. So it's a good play. I like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because then, you would have those people. Oh, I transferred this money and didn't get anything, and because we don't want to fight through the same, I think, FUD battles that we had with HEX, which was horrendous at the time when this started. I think this is quieting down. Still gatekeeping, but the outright attacks on Twitter and on Telegram, and this was really on a different scale in those first couple of months. So I think we don't want to go through this again with PulseChain.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of illogical stuff. People, especially from Bitcoin maxis, that if it's not Bitcoin, it's a scam and stupid stuff like that. I mean, I think a lot of them are still calling Ethereum a scam, which is just, insanity. But what do you think when PulseChain goes live? Do you think, obviously, there's lots of hexagons and people that sacrificed are going to be, straight on it, but are other people going to flock to the chain, from other chains?
I mean, it was interesting with the second sacrifice set for the PulseX, because I put it on myself to be a bit of a a mentor support in the PulseX chat room on Telegram, kind of like I did when HEX started back then in the first 4 weeks. So I did that in the first, I want to say 10-12 days, where I was maybe 3 hours a day. I was in there helping people get their sacrifice in. And from the conversations you have there and from what you see and how people react and the types of questions that they ask and the scams that are going on, like there were a lot more people aware of PulseX than there were about the actual PulseChain sacrifice 6 months prior. So there was one guy, I remember this, it was a crazy story, that he put his sacrifice in, and then it was about when will he get his coins back, and then I try, of course, you're not supposed to have any expectations there, but you just might be qualified for an airdrop. And then he was like, oh, so I will get them back in my Ethereum wallet at mainnet launch. And I was like, no, not the Ethereum wallet, the PulseChain wallet. And then he responded back, what the heck is PulseChain? So you have to see that they sacrificed for PulseX, which is the main exchange running on the PulseChain network, with not even knowing what PulseChain, or that there is a PulseChain. So that lets me think that way more people, and you see this in number of addresses that sacrificed, you see this in members in the, like, both PulseChain and PulseX chat rooms on Telegram have outperformed HEX main chat, right? In terms of numbers, and fairly, it was a super quick growth that I think, just from the people that are into PulseX but missed out on the PulseChain sacrifice, they all would, of course, want to jump on PulseChain. So I think that again is very bullish. I mean, you might have crazy volatility in the first days or weeks that people are just, even if it does, I don't know, 2x, 3x multiplier on whatever they sacrifice. You might have a lot of people that dump right away because that's for them, but those are not like the people we're interested in anyway. We are into, about long-term growth, and I'm intending to at least hold for 2 to 3 years. Probably we'll see how it all goes, but I don't have this thing in my head that at the first 5x I need to sell something or whatever. Like, so there might be a lot of those people, but I think overall, from that reaction, or how the behavior was during the PulseX sacrifice, again, is super bullish on and what is to come for PulseChain. And now all these projects building on it, like we're on the Liquid Loans channel, of course, today, which is one of the main products starting out on that. And there are others too. Like I've looked at a list today, this afternoon. I was just going through things. There's like 50 different projects now that are working to just launch. That's new stuff. Like not even talking about, existing projects that will get a double of their copy, who might just migrate over or start this as a second leg of their business. That could also happen. But just that we have 50 different projects, good or bad, time will tell, right? But there's definitely a lot of people working to start on PulseChain. So I think that again are all super bullish indicators, and also that the community that we have, right? Like I'm in the space since 2016, 17. So I've seen a lot of projects come out that claim to be the next Ethereum killer, right? But they all ended up being empty chains, and they all had this problem that they had to start a community from scratch. They had to, get adoption going, and PulseChain, because of HEX, has a daily growing, ever growing community, and a large community, an enthusiastic community with live streamers. We got everything going on. We've got events, we've got conference, PulseCon happening. Like we've got so much stuff already in place
every day. Cars, everything.
Cars, races,
cars, Lambos,
Oh, when Lambo, exactly. And the NASCAR thing, like we've got so much stuff already going right now before this thing hasn't even launched. Like, so we hit the ground running with an existing big community. So I think all these things, totally add up and speak in favor of this becoming a real success.
No, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I said this in a video, I think one of my last videos. Obviously, we wanted PulseChain to come out 2 weeks or 4 weeks after the sacrifice phase. But in a way, it's a blessing that it's been pushed back so far, because all these projects have started to right, we're going to build on this. Like you said, Liquid Loans and a handful of others. And there's, well, not even a handful, like you said, up to 50. And there's even projects that we don't know about, right? There's people who are building stuff behind the scenes who haven't announced it, right? So people have announced it, like Liquid Loans, but there's others who are just silently building away. Then you have the hexicans who are, making HEX go viral through streams, through all this marketing. Then you have the full system state copy. Man, it is mind-blowing what could happen. Nobody knows. We can all speculate on, this and that, but it is, and sorry, going back to what you said before as well, if you look at the amount of wallets that are sacrificed for PulseChain versus PulseX, a lot more for PulseX, right? A lot of people heard about PulseChain late and got into PulseX. And I guess, do you think that narrative is going to play out where a lot of people who've got PulseX are going to try and swap for PulseChain, so we would see a dip in PulseX and a rise in Pulse?
That's what's being said everywhere, right? And they try to make a quick, funny deal with, trying to swap some before it's actually going live, being traded on the market. So I don't know if that all will happen, but maybe it's not even that. Maybe people who are in PulseX will definitely maybe come up with new funds to also buy some additional PulseChain. So I think there is definitely a big demand for PulseChain when it starts, because people have simply missed out, and lots of people, like thousands of people, have missed out that are now aware of it and want to have it and want to, they missed the sacrifice. It is what it is, but then at least they will buy in when it's starting on the open market, which is should still be a very good price, in the first couple of days and weeks. So I don't know if it will. Some say PulseX has more potential in the long run because these burning features and the staking, all that stuff, that this might, if you want to grow your investment, might even be the better deal than PulseChain. I don't know. It's like, we'll really have to see how that plays out once it's launching.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Chat is super active. I haven't even seen what.
Yeah, I know. We've been talking, and again, it's hard to monitor.
Focus on the conversation.
You've got a lot of fans in the chat, man. Everyone's saying thanks for the mixtape, and you've got a lot of the UK hexagons going nuts. I can see that you're in the house. So yeah, man, you're a legend. And like I said, it's great. It's great to hear your story, because you've been. I mean, it's good to hear your story on especially stuff like Pulse, your take on it on PulseX, because you've been in HEX from the beginning, right? And you've already seen how that's done. And, obviously the same founder, but different mechanics because it's a blockchain.
It will not perform in the same way as HEX. We have to be real about this, because there is not this staking, like there's not this, it's not the same system. And in a way, in a first way, PulseChain was built, I think that was Richard's first thought, to make HEX work again as it was intended, without these crazy Ethereum fees. But then, of course, the scope of the project has increased so much with the PulseX exchange that this is now a whole separate thing on its own. So I just hope that we can find a way of all these three avenues, the HEX, the PulseChain, the PulseX, to coexist in an ever-growing ecosystem. So that's really what I'm looking for. Yeah.
What do you think does better on PulseChain then? Pulse itself, PulseX, or HEX in the first 6 months or 12 months?
For me, the main play is always HEX. Like for me, that is just and that is also what I'm dedicating my public profile towards on Twitter and then on my live stream on Twitch. It will always be about HEX in the first place. So I think that will always outperform anything that is out there, because of the game theory and because of the proof in the charts that we have. I know we're going through a crazy dumper right now, but it's still at 13 cents. It's not at 0.000013 like many of these other meme coins and stuff that had a good run last year. Many came back down to their starting position, and we're still at 13 cents. So this is still, in a way, I know it's 80% down from the all-time high, but looking at it from a zoom down perspective, this is still a good performance. I feel for the guys who bought the top last year and who got in when it was much higher. But I myself, I bought additional HEX at 30-40 cents. So because I wanted to have some extra for the sacrifices, and technically I'm down on that too. But we've seen this before, and you really have to. I have a lot of being there from day one. I have super faith in that whole system, and I think that will recover, and the interest will be there once the whole market starts to turn around. So for me, the main play is always going to be HEX, but I really think PulseChain will do very well. And I know that I have long conversations with Wales only about this, who he believes that PulseX will outperform PulseChain. So I don't know yet, one of the two, but even if he is saying stuff like that, that again, and he looks really deep into I'm very superficial on the code side of things. I mean, I know my way around crypto, but then when it gets into the super integral points, that's more really him that I'm looking up to, and he's super bullish on the performance of PulseX, and he really thinks with all the features that it has, that has really a chance to perform even better than PulseChain. So yeah, I'm not decided yet. We will really have to see how it plays out. Sorry if that is a lame answer.
No, that's great.
That's just my view on it. Being honest.
Listen, if you sacrifice for both Pulse and PulseX, and you have HEX, who cares what goes up first, right? It's like, oh, woohoo! My PulseX is outperforming my HEX on my Pulse, or now my HEX has overtaken it. It's like, I think
I have almost equal amounts, a little bit more in PulseX, but I'm not one of these looking to swap anything one for the other at launch. I will just let it ride and see what happens.
Sit back and chill. So so HEX is your golden child. So let's go down to eHEX versus pHEX, or I know it's just going to be called HEX on PulseChain, but we'll call it pHEX and eHEX for now. What's going to outperform what, or are they going to reach parity quite quickly, in your opinion? Obviously, all speculation.
In my opinion, and in my hope, is that they will reach parity, and we're like really doubling up. And I think Richard mentioned this a couple of times in his streams, that with this bot that he has running in the beginning, etc., that people will not, and I like to believe that people will not. That was a hope that I had, that I could, grab up some even more like super cheap pHEX when it launched, and I would be down for that. But I don't think we will have that chance. I think they will launch at parity, and then I don't see Ethereum HEX go away. I mean, there might be a lot more adoption on PulseChain, right? So that will have more stakers, more people, more short-term stakers, like really people might be using that more as a short-term savings account. But all the money, we have, if you look at the staker app, there's a couple of billions of dollars locked up on Ethereum HEX, which is staked for a very long time. So
average
that is not
6 point something years now, I think.
And many OGs have like long as 12, 13, 14 year stakes, and this will not go away. So I don't really see whatever is liquid, there might be a bit of a dumpage, but again, even if we see it now, if somebody dumps it down like to a super low price, it gets immediately bought back up again. So any crazy volatility, I believe, will just be very short-lived. So I believe, if you ask me like that both systems have a chance of good performing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you said, a lot of it's locked up, and there might be a slight dip. I guess time will tell. Maybe if people are bridging over to their HEX over to PulseChain. As your stakes come out or come to maturity on ETH, will you be looking to bridge over and start to use PulseChain more because of the cheap fees, or will you keep
I mean, my stakes are doubling. Like, I have a yearly staking ladder. I have a 15-year. I have my thought in the beginning, like, I didn't really grasp the whole concept of T-shares. It took me, even though I was in, which was the sad part, like my back could be so much better than it is. Like if I had
hindsight 2020
only understood like T-shares the right way from day one. But I didn't. It took many streams with Kareem actually to really, get that light bulb going. I said, oh, right, so this is how it works. This is how you're supposed to stake. So around big payday time, I had to rebalance my whole thing. And now I have a setup of a 15-year long staking ladder in HEX that I have small stakes coming out once a year up until year 10. And that's the year 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's where I have my biggest stakes. So that is how I've allocated
super delayed gratification.
That ladder. Yeah, super late delayed. And so I have once a year, and I had one just coming out last year in November. That was sort of my first 2-year stake that came out, and that I just restaked again for Quattro Cinco, and that is kind of my model that I'm trying to follow up. If I don't need the money for something, I don't know, we got a mortgage going, so maybe there is a final payment or something to do eventually somewhere, then I will of course pay that. But if I don't at the moment in time, not necessarily need that money, I would stake it again out for fresh 15 years, so that way I have a constant rolling money coming in. That is kind of the system that I'm following right now, and I would do that on both chains. Like I would do that on Ethereum, And I mean, it's a blessing that we get the double of that on PulseChain. So I'm not saying that I would, completely end my operations on Ethereum and move everything over to PulseChain. Some people might do that. I think I'll leave it running on both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, like hopefully ETH 2.0 delivers at some point and the fees do go down. I mean, God knows when.
Because that is the thing, ETH 2.0 might eventually, what did he say, 6 years, Vitalik, eventually that might come, and then it'll be okay again to stake on Ethereum. But that, Ethereum HEX, our focus as a community, of course, and with the onboarding and also with the stuff that I'm doing, will of course be on the PulseChain side of things. Forget about Ethereum. But me personally, since when you're there from, earlier on before the fork, it's a blessing that you get a copy of both. And maybe that strategy might also change as we go along. We'll have to see. It's difficult to say at the moment. I hope and really hope that we have two working systems there for HEX.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be paying $1,000, $2,000 to end a stake every time, or God forbid, even more. Obviously, some people.
That stake I ended last November was $800. Like, I mean, it was worth a couple of thousand, so it's okay to pay $800, but still $800. That's a lot of money.
PulseChain, save us.
Yes, please. I mean, that was really wow, because when you started the stake, it was 80 cents or something, and now to end it is 800. That is a crazy development, and still no improvement on that. Even on the contrary, I think it even gotten
the other day it went crazy. I think it was it Tuesday night? I think I was on matchx.xyz, and it was like $25 or $30 for a swap, and suddenly I came back to my computer. I'd gone away somewhere for a couple of minutes, and it was like $1,000 for a swap.
Oh my god.
What the hell's going on? I mean, it's just nuts. It's just completely
I wonder why there is not more outrage, because yes, for HEX is bad, but many others, like you say, Matcha or any other 1inch or anybody that's using CryptoKitties that's still around Ethereum, it must be bad for them too.
Do you think the NFT guys are gonna sprint over to PulseChain because they're getting so battered over on ETH?
It's the OpenSea fees, right? That I mean, maybe start by that. I think we still need to do lots more on awareness and marketing and advertising. I don't think it will be from day one. Like I think this will gradually grow, same as our community grows, and I think eventually word will get through, and then people realize, oh, I actually do have a copy of that on here, and then I don't think that'll happen instantly, but I definitely see this as the vision in the long run going forward.
No, gotcha.
I'm a bit more, a bit more grounded, and I think these things need to take its time. So I'm not expecting.
You got your feet on the floor, not on the moon at the moment.
I think although I'm always bullish on price, I'm perma bullish. I'm never bearish, even after 80%.
You've got that calm like OG. I've seen it all before. Like, let's not go crazy, right? Let's not go
crazy, exactly. Because we've been through these, we've been through these volatility, but I think that also comes with the game, that you have to endure a couple of these crypto cycles to really understand and know what's going on, what also the potential is, because otherwise you just get frustrated and you end up selling the bottom, and that's the worst thing you can do.
You need to make a few mistakes. I think you need to buy a few tops, and you need to you need to see a few 80-90% retraces and know that. And it's true what Richard says, everything in life worth doing or getting is delayed gratification. You don't become a great DJ overnight. You don't become ripped or big in the gym overnight. You don't become fluent in a language overnight. It takes time. It takes consistent effort, and there's setbacks in life. So I think the game theory and the whole self-development, energy that he's put around HEX is really good. It's really good for not just for finances, but for teaching people how to be better in life and self-development.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
So what about your Pulse? So what are you going to do with that? You're going to stake that with a validator? You're going to use liquid loans? There's a few options obviously out there.
I mean, I'm also in the liquid loans sacrifice set, so I definitely it was funny. I had with Jesse when he went on his marketing run, if you can call it that, even though we shouldn't call it that, for the launch of Liquid Loans on PulseChain. Like I had the pleasure to, I think it was one of the first interviews that he did with the Australian guys. And Discord Syndicate, the HEX Late Show on a Tuesday. I happened to be by accident really also on that show that day, so I could really poke some holes into the system, questions that I had in back of my mind, and I think he did really well and gave some good answers. And then behind the scenes in the green room, then what other people are not privy to, he dropped some even more Easter eggs on that. So I think that'll do well. It's just with me, my problem is that on my public profile is like what I'm doing on Twitter, especially, like, when Richard Hart, when he follows you, that's one, and when he puts you on his curated HEX Twitter list of pro HEX people, you just gotta keep it HEX, and that also goes for people like the Hexologist, etc. So we're just because we're not promoting it, endorsing it, or whatever, and I'm, even though I'm not, I don't think I'm in the category of a hexologist, but I've been around, people make me in that category sometimes. It's funny, like, even
man, don't play yourself down. Come on.
No, but even he said this to me, like, I met him in London, like, because he was there with his wife, and I said,
yes, I met him too. Like, nice
thank you so much for all you did for the community, and I watched many of your streams, because he was on, it's 1 o'clock my time in Germany, always when the clock ticks over and we're getting our HEX payout of the day. That's always when he was streaming every night, and many nights I streamed into his show. So I kind of, just wanted to thank him for it. But he then returned and said, hey, you've been rocking it out as well for a long time. So when that comes from him, that kind of makes it, oh yeah, maybe I've been around for a while. So, so when you're, when you get these comments, and when Richard puts you on his Twitter list there, that's really the main thing. Then you got to keep it HEX, and he blatantly pulls you off that thing if you start shilling really other stuff and other coins. So this is not necessarily how can I explain this? You get what I mean, right? This is not, we're not shit talking it or whatever. This is just when you're on that list by Richard, we got to keep it HEX. And that relationship with Richard, because I can send him DMs and he responds back, etc. So that is way more valid to me than any connection to other communities there. So that is just what's behind that, because sometimes the OGs get criticized for not being all out for the new projects that come on board. But then in private, I can do what I want. So of course, having that conversation with Jesse back then, I'm very hopeful that this will be a good thing, and I'm sacrificed. I'm part of the sacrifice set. So I'm really looking forward to that launching. But also, as Johnny Chaos keeps saying, we have to observe it. HEX has really proved itself. It's there's no admin keys, and it has not been hacked. I think that is what he means with it when he says 100% uptime. Like, there hasn't been any security glitches in HEX, because he has put so much scrutiny on the development of HEX. And will this be the same for all these other things that come out, or are there maybe loopholes, even though they have been audited? Like, we don't know. So proof is in the pudding there. And I think
time will tell.
After a couple of months, people will be, coming over and be more inclined to endorse it more or promote it more. I think that's just what it has to take, kind of has to make its run and prove himself first. And that's what I'm looking for in all these things, whether it's Pulse Doge, whether it's Liquid Loans, or Mintra, which I'm also I think that's a very clever idea what Gerardo is doing there. So these things will have to prove itself ultimately. That's kind of my take
sure. And they should be scrutinized. I think it's good what Richard's done, obviously creating HEX and the community, And a byproduct is people have gone off and built other stuff with Richard's ethos, right? No admin keys, immutable, 100% uptime, and everyone's aiming for that, right? So he's set that benchmark super high. And like he said, I can't build everything, right? I can't do everything. I can't do Pulse and PulseX and build a new MetaMask and HEX and everything.
He said that. Yeah, that's true. I wish I didn't have to build everything myself.
Exactly. But obviously time will tell, like you said. We'll see 6, 12, 18 months down the line, but I think it's a really positive thing that people have taken his mindset and his way of doing it, because as you've been in crypto for a while, a lot of DeFi isn't DeFi, right? So there is admin keys, and you look at stuff like Solana and what's not, and there's just issues coming out the yin yang. So I think it's just,
and
super
even
exciting.
if it was a project with like good intentions, but then there was a hack or something that they just, and one of the copycats, I believe, when they started, they had everything ready, like the HEX copycats, and then they gave it to a company for them to just launch the fully developed and audited code on the real Ethereum blockchain, and then somebody in that company was a bad actor and then hack the code, and then of course that looks super bad on the whole team and everything. So there's lots of stuff, unfortunately, that can happen. And when you're a HEX OG and then you told everybody to go invest in that, and then stuff like this happens, that is just where it gets
you have to. It's
which
good.
Is why there is
it's good for people not just to ape into stuff.
There's
I
controversy
think
sometimes.
Everyone should do their own research. I think Jesse's done an amazing job. I mean, that guy has got a galaxy brain for sure, and he's gone around and educated everyone on
super patient as well, like to
patient.
answer the same question 20 times over and still give a good answer, and helps people out. So lots of positive things that speak for
lots of positive things to come. What about you, man? What are your goals, for 2022 and going forward?
Oh man, I just I don't know. I have such a good run with my Twitch streams, and I really like doing that. But we spoke about this before the stream. We had the crazy pandemic going on, which of course, I was also with my business put on furlough, and I was really working just 2 days a week, couple of hours, because there was really nothing going on, and you still were on that government pay. So financially, at least, you didn't really have to worry about paying bills. But that gave us the opportunity, I think, because HEX had just launched, to really dive into that and really research HEX properly and build this community and get involved with the live streams. It all started really with the FN Hangout on Discord Syndicate on Fridays, and I think from that show then on, a lot of other streams like Cabana, etc., started and came out. So in a way, even though this was of course a bad time for the whole world, for us as the HEX community, that was an opportunity, and I think we grabbed that opportunity and built out this community. So the danger for me is as now also in Germany all the restrictions are done, that I have to go eventually back to full-time work, and then I don't know if I will be able to stream as much. I might need to actually scale back on that a little bit, but I just hope I can do this some more time, and just really trying to grow my channel there on Twitch and get as many people onboarded and interested and curious into HEX. I think that'll be my mission going. I'm a HEX shill, and I think I will, because I like it so much, and it has done good things for me financially, and also I think this can save a lot of other people from trading, from losing money on gambling. Don't play the lotto, do long-term stakes. Do you think how many people play lotto all the time? Like how much money that is?
Just throwing down a drain
and never win anything. Like if they just put this once a month, and build a small HEX stake or wherever. Like we need to, step by step. Everybody, I'm doing it through the music. You do it over here. Like everybody has their little role to play, and we have all these various channels now with the Crypto Gym Rat and the HEX Foodies, and he comes from a fitness. Like we've got everything going. the most versatile stuff, and everybody has their little role to play. So I keep doing the music and entertainment section for as long as I can. That's really like my short-term goal for the work that I want to do for the community. Yeah.
So we need the HEX price to pump to like $1 so you can retire, and then you can
yeah.
Right?
Well, $3.
Okay, guys. You heard it here first, guys. If you want DJ CryptoMatic 24/7 on Twitch,
let's go.
then let's go. Get $3, right? When $3. Well, listen, man, it's been great to have you on. I really appreciate your time and hearing your backstory. And
thanks for having me.
It's been awesome, man. And also, hopefully it's the first of many, but you have to come back on obviously later down the line when Pulse goes live.
Oh yeah, once everything is starting, yeah, and up and running, yeah, I'm happy to be
fantastic,
back. Yeah.
Fantastic. Where can our viewers, I mean, obviously a lot of people know you, but for the ones that don't, where can they find out more about you? Where are the links?
Yes, I mean, I'm on Twitter is at DJ_CryptoMatic. But the main thing to chill for me is really, I'm also streaming on Discord Syndicate, and many people know about this every Tuesday and most Thursdays with Kinetics and the Wake Up HEX show. But the main thing for me to always push is my Twitch. It's my Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/ and it was long DJ_CryptoMatic. But I'm also on the hexstreamers.com. Okay. Every time I go live, you see a direct link to my show on there. I definitely recommend everybody have hexstreamers.com. I have that running in a separate tab on a browser like all the time, so I always see which HEX streamer and Pulse streamer is currently live. So that's probably the easiest way to catch my shows. Awesome. And yeah, I just hope everybody comes through. And even if you only listen for 2 or 3 songs, every little helps. It's all about getting the attention from other people on Twitch, and each one of you guys who tune in, listen 2 or 3 songs, and even if it may not be your music or your genre, but that can still go a very long way. So I'm very appreciative of all the support that
absolutely, man. Send me the link after the stream and I'll put it in the description below so people watching the playback. Awesome, buddy. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much, DJ CryptoMatic. You have to come back on soon.
Bye.
Take care. The man, the myth, the legend. What an OG. Great to hear his story. Great to hear about, the origins of him, HEX, all that good stuff. Guys, if you like all this content on PulseChain, Pulse, PulseX, Liquid Loans, do hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new videos. You can also tap the like button, share the video with someone who you think it may benefit. And if you're watching the playback, drop a cheeky comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a great Thursday wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.